Hi Daniel, how are you? Everything okay with you?
Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. We're just back from the 7 week tour in the US and Europe, and we're still a bit foggy about the time zone and as well lack of sleeping from touring, but keeping busy. I have a rehearsal tonight with a singer and some gigs coming, so I don't have much time to to relax to start doing music again. But I'm
Yeah,
I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
yeah, and Morgoth Tales will be released in the end of July. Basically, it's 21st, right? 21st of July. What
Yes,
can you reveal to the fans about this album?
it's been super fun to record because we have recorded a few original albums in the past years, and we had concerts online and stuff with the band and touring, but learning the old stuff, some songs we never played together, and even the original members didn't play live ever, like Nuage Fractal from the Angel Rat album. I think they never played it live, or some songs that they played but ages ago. Uh, it was fun to reconnect with the songs for them. It brought back a lot of memory from their beginning and so on, and with their fallen comrade Piggy, and so revisiting the songs and learning them and playing it live in the studio with the actual lineup and chemistry was real fun to do, real fun. And I remember Snake, singing the lyric parts and getting into this character he had 40
Yeah,
years ago that emerged from his singing the song in the studio. And he looked at us through the window and he was laughing. He was having a good time to, oh, that's how I did it back then. So it was really fun to do. And there's an anecdote because the first song they ever recorded with Voivod's called Condemned to the Gallows, which is the opening track of the album. And it was a song that was recorded on a compilation, which was Metal Massacre 5. And there was a bunch of bands on that compilation, like Metallica, that were unknown then as well. And, I don't remember the other bands, but there are a bunch of bands. And the first song they ever recorded, Voivod, was "Condemned to Get the Gallows" on this compilation, and there was never a lyric sheet. It was not printed for
yeah,
the vinyl. It was not printed for any other medium. So we didn't have the lyrics when we recorded the music, and then Snake had to do his vocals, and we realized I don't know the song. I don't have the lyrics written anywhere. And he had a thought like, oh, my mom's collecting everything, and his mom is
yeah.
still alive in her 80s or 90s. Uh, so he called his sister to look up at his mom house, and his mom just went to the files. Yeah, I got it here. The 40-year-old manuscript of the
Yeah.
song lyric sheet. Even we tried with AI to isolate the vocal tracks, and it sounded with the northern French accent that we have
Yeah.
in Quebec. And he had it 19 years old, barely was able to speak English at the time, so it was sounding like German or something. We couldn't figure it out. So there we had the lyric sheet from his mom, and we could record the vocals, and it's on the album. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and probably the funniest album you ever recorded too.
The funniest,
Yeah.
it was a lot of pleasure to play together for
Hmm.
sure. And we had the two special guests, Eric Forrest, who was the singer bass player in the band for 6 years in the 90s. And so he sang one of his song from the catalog. He got an amazing voice, very different from Snake. Uh, and he came on stage with us at the Hellfest a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was great. And we also had Jason Newsted, who played bass in Metallica. He played in Voivod for a little while, and he played bass on his song, which is Rebel Robot. They wrote it together back then for the eponym album. So it's a fun album. It's a great celebration of the 40-year career, and we wrote a new song at the end of the
Yeah.
album too. So and there's going to be a video, I think, soon released for the song. Uh, it was quite a challenge too, but it was fun. It's all we recorded with great fun and pleasure. So
Yeah, now that you mentioned the guests, why did you decide to invite them to this album? I know they played in the original songs, but you
yeah,
have now a different lineup. So.
yeah. I think we, you know, at first, Eric vocals is very unique and very different from
Mhm.
Snake, and I thought the song's identity was more his tone of voice. But before that, before even talking about the music, I thought they belonged there, and we all thought, uh, Voivod is still a family, and it was just normal to have them on the album, and celebrate their part of the history of the band, and they accepted it, and we're really grateful they accepted it, and I think it's important that they're in there, and we're really happy to have them.
Yeah, and you were also talking about your brand new song that gives the name to this album, to Margaret Tales. Why did you decide to include a new song in this record filled with classics?
Yeah, I think it was. Just well, the lyrics are including a lot of titles from previous songs. Snake decided to do like a retrospective from the beginning and including in the lyrics in the story that the band came out of, four guys in a northern city, remote place. Nobody spoke English back then, but they had a vision and focused and perseverance and a lot of life sacrifice. You choose to go in a direction and you pursue your dream, and 40 years later the band still exists. We tour around the world, and so that's a bit of the story, the high and the lows, and all the adventure that comes with touring and producing music and creating and meeting friends on the road, and looking forward too to the future. So having a new song is like, yes, there's 40 years behind us, but we're still looking forward to experiment and explore the universe still.
Yeah, so basically Morgoth tales are basically Voivod tales. It tells the tale of the band.
Yeah, and Morgoth was an imaginary land in the story of the Voivod that Away created 40 years ago. And well, before the band was called Voivod, Away had this concept of a character, a nuclear vampire that would, protect the planets in the universe and all that. So Morgoth was the planet in his story. So
Yeah.
Morgoth tales make sense.
Yeah, and besides that story of Voivod, is there any other thematic relation behind the other songs?
Not really directly, but Voivod always has been using science fiction with nonfiction, kind of a parallel. Sometimes it's easier to use fiction to explain what's going on in the real world, um, but it's always been you know, uh, stories and conspiracies and alien and UFOs and worrying about the future of humanity and the planet and the pollution and power, and but without using the direct reality to treat about the subjects. And so in an imaginary world, we can pretty much say everything freely without pointing
Yeah.
fingers at real thing that happens in the actuality. And also, I think imagination and creativity triggers imagination and creativity in other people's mind. When you get into the music or into the lyrics or both, it provokes new ideas and provokes your brain to get excited and to to
Think outside the box.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think it's part of the beauty of art, really.
Yeah, and one thing that people can't accuse you is of Voivod is that you are really, really creative. Throughout all your career, you're probably one of the most creative bands out there. But
Thank you so much.
as we were talking about this selection of songs, if there isn't any thematic relationship between them, how did you select them?
It was some of them were hunch, like I really like to play this song, you know. And the choice was really hard because there are so many songs and so many albums in this band's career, you know. So we selected like "Come Then to the Gallows" because it was the really first one recorded, and then "Trashing Rage" because I think it was one of the strongest song of Roar, and uh, and it made sense in their career. You know, second album it was very
Yeah,
thrash and speed metal. So Thrashing Rage, just the title evokes this feeling, and then Killing Technology had such a strong intro from the third album. And it's the title track as well. I always personally felt this track was really special because when I was 12 years old, I was listening to Voivod and I went to the store and bought a cassette with my bicycle, you know, with my paperboy money. I bought my first metal cassette and it was Killing Technology. And that's the first thing that I've heard when I put it in the tape was the beeping sound of the intro, and then "We Are Connected" and the song starts. So for me, it has a different significance. It's a personal love story, so to speak. And Macro Solution to Mega Problem, I think the fourth song reflects the more progressive side of the band when they let go a bit more of the thrash speed, but incorporate more of the progressive ideas and concept and thematic on the album. And Pre-Ignition from the Nothing Face album is even more proggy, incorporates Stravinsky music in the song from the Rites of Spring. You know, when I've heard that, I didn't know Stravinsky, and then I studied music, and I've heard Stravinsky Rites of Spring, and I thought, oh, Stravinsky copied Voivod. But of course, it was the other
the
way
other way
around.
around. Yeah.
But I thought it was a genius thing from Piggy to be able to arrange a full
Hmm.
symphonic orchestra with only bass and guitars and drums. You know, yeah, it has to take a genius for doing that.
Yeah.
Uh,
He was a
and
genius,
then
definitely.
yeah, and then the new Ash Fractal is, yeah, I mean, the title is evoking um, already, you know, airy, you know, airy kind of vibe, and it's very different from the rest of the album. Angel Rat was, which was more proggy and psychedelic, and it took a while for people to appreciate the album, and now it's one of the favorites, you know, 30 years or so later. And this song was very special as well, with a slide guitar solo in it, which you don't hear a lot in
Yeah.
metal. And yeah, so all the songs were selected more of suggestion and thinking about it, and yeah, it makes sense. And also when you create an album, you know, of course nowadays you can go on streaming services and select songs and do a playlist, but an album is a playlist. And we think about what song is first, what song is last, and what sounds good after this one. What do you want to hear after this song? You want to go into that groove, this key musically, this kind of lyrics. So if you listen to the album from start to the end, you have very different songs. You have a separation from one song to the other, so it doesn't um, sounds repetitive. You know,
Yeah.
you get into the other world and the other world. So it's a journey. Uh, it's a journey into the Morgoth world, Voivod world. So that
Yeah, and it would be hard for a band like Voivod to have a repetitive, like best of Marvel films isn't your best of, but it could be your best of. it would be really hard to be repetitive because your career is so vast and so diverse. It would be really, really hard.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I think you're right. I think you're right. And so the details were thought of, you know, oh, we use a fast tempo song here, so we can go on
Hmm.
into a medium tempo, different key and stuff like that. So it was in a chronological order as well. So all
Yeah.
of this decided for the songs to be selected, really.
Yeah, and now that I mentioned it, do you see Morgoth Tales as a best of Voivod?
Well, it's kind of a best of, but it's not literally a best of because a lot of album are on different labels, so it would have been very complicated to have the rights from this label and the rights from this label to use the song and put it out on another label. So I think it's kind of a headache, and it's great to. I have nothing against nostalgia, right? We're used to a sound. Uh, when I put my cassette of Killing Technology that I still have and I listen to the cassette, it has a sound, it has a tone that's different from an MP3 or from a CD, and this tone is what I remember. What provokes the memory of this moment. The cassette tone is really important. So it's the nostalgia part. I think the tone is really important, but um, to re-record them with the new lineup, with the new chemistry, that the chemistry that we have since 10 years. The
Hmm.
band hasn't changed since 10 years, and we toured a lot and we wrote together and we went on adventures, on the road together. So you can hear this chemistry, the actual chemistry, playing the old material with the tightness that we have today and the chemistry and the sound production that
Hmm.
we have today. I think it makes the celebration even more interesting in
Yeah.
a good way. So we're again not living in the past, but using the past and make it more like the present, and going forward from there.
And that was one of the reasons why you decided to re-record the songs with a new lineup.
Yes, and by re-recording them, we had to learn them so we can play them live too and be
Yeah.
more efficient about it. The songs are a half step down. Uh, the
Hmm.
tonality we tuned a tiny bit lower, so it's a bit heavier too. You can feel that, and it also give a chance to Snake to hit the high notes after 40 years, but he did great. I'm sure he could do it with the original tuning, but and we did two two albums and one EP with Francis at Rerecording Studio. So that's the fourth recording with other stuff that we do with him, so we have a good method of working together and create that sound. We feel really comfortable in the studio. It's like a second home. We go there, we live there for a while, we jam together, and it was a way to reconnect also as a band after doing the Synchro Anarchy album through the Apocalypse pandemic period, and so we could play together and really have fun together. So it helped the chemistry even more to re-record the song.
Yeah, and did you write your new song, your new Margaret Thale song like that? Like jamming in the studio, just.
We um we actually I wrote a bunch of stuff on my own during tours and put a demo together, and we worked around it a bit like we did for Synchro Anarchy, but we could play it together in the studio. So it was great to play something new together and forge around it, and trying stuff in an organic way or physical, being in the
Mhm.
same room again. So it was a mix of both, and I think we're gonna do more of this kind of method in the future. But I really miss the jams. I really miss the jams. So we're gonna provoke some jams and some improvisation for sure, but because it's really important in the sound of Voivod, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it is. Now that you mentioned it, now we're back at this Margot Tale song. Are you planning on including it on your next studio album?
I'm sorry?
Are you planning on including Margot Tales on your next studio album?
I don't think we're gonna include it because we're looking forward. So when we start, I already started to write some new ideas for a next record, for a future record, and I think we're gonna start from scratch again, because like I said, we come from the time when an album was a collection of songs, and I
Mhm.
kind of find it hard to let go of this idea because it's a collection of songs that you write in a certain uh, period of time and a
Yeah.
certain idea. So it's like a time capsule. An album, that's what it is. So I think you have to be concentrated and focus on this little bubble for a while. So if you start including stuff that you did it too much in the past, or it becomes a bit fractured. So I think we prefer to start from scratch and have a vision and go for it.
Yeah, and what do you have planned so far for your new studio album? Or what can you reveal?
Uh it's very early in the process, but yeah, it's really hard to tell. Personally, I want to go personally. I didn't tell the guys, but I want to try to do more chunky guitar riffs, like more, you know, a bit more heavy in the sense of heaviness.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that sound with keeping the strange chords and dissonance, of course, but I want to incorporate back a little bit of the heavy stuff.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Synchro Anarchy was a great album, and I'm sure this one, Margot Tales, is also a great album, and I'm sure your next one is also going to be great.
We'll
Um,
try.
Now, focusing specifically on your guitar work, you seem to idolize or look up a lot to Piggy. Was it hard
Yeah.
to play, your own versions of what he did, your own covers of what he did so long a time ago?
Yeah, it was hard because I really want to respect the most possible, the solos,
Yeah,
the way it was played and thought of. But I don't want to also, you know, it was hard for me to find my place re-recording the songs. I think I want to be as closest as possible as what he's done because I want to respect the composition and the way he played it. But I I play with the guys, so it's a band thing. So we once the parts are learned, I have to adjust my playing with what's happening with the four of us. So it becomes automatically an interpretation, really,
yeah,
and not a copy, because we don't play this. They don't play the same way as 40 years ago, and we don't play as a band as there was two different members. So
mm,
it's another cell, so to speak. So the cell is it's been how do you say morphing into another new
yeah.
cell, and that's what we're focusing on. So that my playing is intimately in relation with what's happening with the band musically. So learn the parts, play the right notes at the right time, but play in the respect for what's going on as a
Mhm.
band.
Yeah, and was there any parts of those songs, those classic songs, that you wanted to change here and there, or you thought that could be better if you did your interpretation?
I really didn't really think about that. We did a few edits. We shortened a few section because you can only put a certain amount of minutes of music on a vinyl. because
Yeah.
if you put too much, it's going to sound bad. So we tried to cut some parts, which were, it was heartbreaking to cut some parts, but I think we did a good job in not transforming the song into something else. So that's pretty much the thing we did. But as far as playing or transforming the parts, that's not where I focused. Though when I play some of the songs live now, I play it a bit differently that I recorded. So
Hmm.
by example, when we play Rebel Robot and we go into the verse on the albums, Piggy played really open. At the riff, it was really, really open, no
Hmm.
muting or anything like that. But live, I go muting the whole verse and opening for the chorus, and Away's following with me with the hi-hat. So we close the hi-hat a little bit on the verse, and on the chorus we open with the crashes and everything. So it came naturally, musically. And little did I know, because yesterday I went on YouTube and saw a bit of a show with Jason Newsted and Piggy in 2003, and he did the same live, and I didn't know. So I guess it was musical to do it because he did it and I did it, and we didn't talk to each other, or
Yeah.
I'd never seen him play that song before. So it's just a musical, uh, I guess, articulation that made sense for the songs to get a bit more of
Hmm.
texture between section. So that's the kind of thing that I take the freedom of doing sometimes.
Yeah, and apart from that and from the tuning down and later on the songs, did you try to rearrange the songs in any other way, changing any other aspect? Like as a
No,
band, not only you, but as a band.
as a band, no, we pretty much respect what was there. I think that was
Mhm.
the goal. Re-record the songs, respect what was done before, without rearranging, but try to getting close to what the song. Yeah, sorry, what the song, how the song was recorded and how it was played, but really respecting our playing, personal
Mhm.
playing as well. So where I'm playing in a band I still am a fan of, and I was a fan of
Yeah.
those albums. So I want to hear them the way as a fan, I want to hear the
Hmm.
songs a certain way, but I don't want to denature them. Just keep respect for what was done, and not trying to copy what was done, but respecting it. It's different.
Yeah. And you already talked about your live shows and stuff. Which are your touring plans for this album?
We already started. We just did a 7 week tour. We went to the UK in April. We ended up opening for Hawkwind, which was great. We played in the UK. We just did 3 weeks in the US and 4 weeks in Europe. So we flew from Atlanta. We went to continue the tour in Europe with our friends Testament, and it was great, fantastic shows. We did a few headlining shows and festivals like Hellfest, Mystic Fest, Grass Pop, and tons of rock in Oslo, Norway. It went fantastic, great tour. And that now we take a little break. We are playing my hometown in 2 weeks, so it's going to be special. And then we're going to play in August near Voivod's hometown, Morgoth. And so we were invited for festivals there as well. And then we go back in Europe, in Scandinavia, and Wacken Festival in Germany in
Mhm.
um, in August. So we have a few shows like Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Germany. Maybe I'm missing one, but maybe Norway. But yeah, we have like 6 shows in August, and we have a few shows in September in our French province in Canada, which is actually we don't play here often. We play everywhere else, so it's going to be fun to play in front of our own peers and in our native language. I mean French, Quebec French.
Yeah.
Speaking between songs in French, and it's very different. And And also we have a show in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, September 7th, I think. So it's going to be a one-off. It's been a while since we played there, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, and apparently Portugal isn't included so far. So if the chance comes,
Ah,
don't waste it.
oh, it's so bad because we love Portugal. Last time we were there with Opeth in Lisbon.
Yeah.
We were touring with Opeth and we did a show there. It was great actually. It was one of the good show of the tour. Everybody was clapping hands during "Fix My Heart." It was great, great. And but I miss Portugal. I hope we play there more often.
Yeah, don't if the chance comes, don't waste it. Now,
Yeah, of course.
during these shows that you mentioned, are you going to promote Morgoth Tales or still promoting Synchro Anarchy?
Oh, we do both.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do both. We play songs from Morgoth Tales and from Synchro Anarchy at the same time, and we play. Yeah, it's just basically the two albums that we promote at the same
yeah.
time. We play three songs from Synchro and the rest from Morgoth Tales and other stuff as well. So it's yeah, yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So that's why I'm saying if the chance comes to come to Portugal, don't waste it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, thank you, Daniel. I think that's it. It was an honor. Would you like to send any message to your Portuguese fans?
Oh, we missed Portugal. Last time we didn't headlines. We play only like 45, 50 minutes. So next time we'll play headlining shows or many.
Yeah.
We played the different cities there, Porto and Lisbon. So and there was a festival up north as well. We played once, but I don't remember the name of the city.
Mhm.
Anyway, can't wait to go back there and meet you guys again, and we'll play longer this time.
All right, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Great talking
Danielle.
to
Thanks
you.
for having me. Thanks so much.